Hello, Bible readers. Psalm 9 is actually Psalm 9 and 10. How do we know that? Well, let's see what you think. See, I'm going to get into some literary, critical, and historical critical academia, and those phrases can be pretty intimidating. But all they mean is that scholars who look at the stuff closely have noticed some things that make it pretty obvious that 9 and 10 were originally one psalm, which is why you're going to hear me call them 9 and 10. Does it matter that they were one psalm? Maybe not a lot, but I think actually a little, but I'm actually getting ahead of myself. Why do we think they were originally one? Well, first off, and I haven't explained this part yet, but the Psalms seem to be organizable into 5 groupings. They call them books. So there's the book 1 of Psalms, book 2, 5 books. So Psalms 1 to 41, that's book 1 of the Psalms. They're a book unto themselves, or thought of that way, because they share a lot of characteristics as compared with the Psalms that follow them, that form book 2. Well, almost every Psalm in book 1 has one of these snazzy superscriptions. This won't always be the case in the other books, book 2, 3, 4, and 5. But in book 1, it'll say things like 9, Psalm 9 says, to the leader according to Muth-labben, a psalm of David. Okay, whoever Muth-labben was, right? But Psalm 10, you'll notice, has no superscription at all. Atypical. Then there's the fact that 9 ends with this note, Selah, S-E-L-A-H. It's a word that appears dozens of times in the Psalms, and we don't know exactly how to translate the word, but it's obviously a direction. Much like music would have, markings, the squiggly lines and dots, whatever, over notes to tell you how to read the notes. Selah probably meant rest in that for a second. Take a breath. Take it in. Selah. Well, nowhere else does a psalm end with that direction. It's actually a strange thing. Like if you're done with a psalm, you can take a breath, take it in right then. You don't need to be told Selah, to take a pause. Usually that would be an in-between paragraphs or in-between thoughts within a psalm, not at the end. And then there's the similarity that 9 and 10 share in style and vocabulary. For example, says my Brueggemann Bellinger commentary, and they'd know better than I, as my seminary Hebrew learnings have faded long ago. But they say the Hebrew terms used for poor and oppressed as descriptions of those who are persecuted, well, the same term is used throughout both 9 and 10. So there you go. When you hear that biblical scholars used critical methods to determine that Psalms 9 and 10 are actually one psalm, don't think that these methods are always super complicated. In this case, it's pretty obvious. Somebody saw what we now call 9, this beautiful psalm of thanksgiving and praise, and then maybe they just didn't like that it was so different from what is now Psalm 10, but maybe it was hard to follow their manuscript. Maybe it was like little pieces of papyrus all over, and they were trying to fit things together, and they saw the next one was this deep lament. They sit in ambush, in hiding places they murder the innocent. Maybe they just thought, yeah, this, what I'm going to call 9, and this, what I'm going to call 10, are very two separate ideas, so let's make them separate. I don't know. But what if we take the 2, 9, and 10 as one? What if we tried to actually read the 1 psalm as thanksgiving, Psalm 9, that is a prelude to lament, which is Psalm 10? What if the way we read it could be like, well, if it was 1 psalm, it would be like a foundation is built first, a foundation of thanks and praise, remembering the times when God has shown up and fulfilled hope. What if that is said first to then hold the desperation, to hold the pain-filled lament. Like, that's a pretty cool idea. And this would be another example, like Psalm 8, of a form helping us to understand a meaning. As much as the envelope structure of Psalm 8 told us that all that elevated talk of humankind was like contained by or boundaried by, surrounded by the praise of God, the greatness of God, that envelope form works to convey intent from the author. Well, this could too. Psalm 9 and 10. You don't have to just drop lament on God. You could, with 9 and 10 being a great example, build support for your lament with a song of praise. Not as a way to like deny your true fears and feelings, but as a way to bear them. Last thing, Psalms 9 and 10. This is really interesting. They make an alphabetic acrostic. What is that? Well, every other verse begins with the next letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So, like a haiku, you can only have so many syllables per line. It's a form of poetry that, by having that standard, it shapes your creativity and obviously the language. Well, an acrostic does a similar thing. It serves as a mnemonic device. There's an A line, so you say whatever praise or lament you want to say with, starts with an A. And then the next line starts with a B and then a C and so on, which obviously this was not written in English, so it'd be the Aleph, the Bet, the Gimel, the Dalet. I haven't lost all of it. Anyway, it would also make an acrostic, makes for a symbol of completeness, because the whole poem, the whole psalm goes from A to Z. So memory device, it's an organizing method, and it shows a completeness of thought that everything is covered from A to Z. And there will be 6 more acrostics in the Psalms. I am one with my God. My God is with us, all of us, at all times and in all places.